NFL free agency today. Love it, like it, hate it. We talked about some running backs. Let's get some wide receivers. Oh, and by the way, a running back. So the number one wide receiver is off the board, right? Alec Pierce, and again, you tell me 2 years ago we'd be talking about Alec Pierce as the number one receiver off the board in the NFL free agency. I would have said, you're crazy, but this is where we're at. It is a bad year to need a wide receiver in free agency.
He was a great value in fantasy, and we talked about him a lot for fantasy purposes.
I waited for him in Dynasty for like 3 years. I'm like, it's just not going to happen. Then I let him go before this year, and now this year, oh, look at him. 3 catches, 84 yards and a touchdown every week. I'm like, I waited 3 years for you, man. I waited so long. Him and Jerry Jeudy, I waited so long for, man. So long.
Well, the fact that Jeudy ended up in Cleveland did not help your case.
But Alec Pierce goes back to the Colts, 4 years, $114 million. Okay, now, again, congratulations getting paid like for Malik Willis. Glad you got paid, man. Awesome. You took a year where it was bad for your position, and you turned it into a big payday. I hate this move. I'm happy for him, but he's a deep threat. And he exists well when you have a deep wide receiver room where you are talented across the board, right? Why did Alec Pierce work with the Indianapolis Colts? Because Michael Pittman was pretty good. Now, maybe he wasn't quite the number one they expected, but Michael Pittman was pretty good. Josh Downs has a lot of talent, didn't break through this year. Oh, by the way, you got a pretty good tight end who came into the NFL saying, hey, I'm the new Sam Laporta. So you have a pretty good depth in that wide receiver tight end room. But what'd you do today? You allowed Michael Pittman to leave to go to the Steelers, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, you save money, but you got to go out and get another wide receiver now because you can't just go in saying, okay, it's Josh Downs and Alec Pierce. None of those guys scare you one-on-one. It's more the totality of what you had in the room, and I can't pay a guy $28 million a year who caught 47 passes last year. I mean, and that's his best year in the NFL was 47 passes. Like, I like that he's valuable, and he's someone that, boy, if you said to me, hey, 3 years and $32 million or 4 years and $50 million, hey, all right, but 4 years and 114, are you kidding me, man? This is a contract that goes to guys that catch 90, 100 passes, 1,300 yards, double-digit touchdowns. That's who get these contracts, not someone who, well, hey, you look at his target share. Okay, I want a guy I can throw the football to 15 times a game, not a guy I can throw the football to 4 times a game, and if he makes one big 60-yard catch, that's it. I need more than that. I can't believe the Colts did this, and now they have to redo the wide receiver room, and they're stuck paying a guy that's not going to give you that kind of return. Nobody else is going to pay Alec Pierce that kind of money.
Yeah, actually, because of the position scarcity, I think he might have found similar offers elsewhere. Because the reason I hate it is because of everything that flows off of it. Because you're still trying to quibble with your quarterback, who's fighting you for, allegedly, $50 million a year. Pause. Yes, Daniel Jones wants $50 million a year, coming off of a big injury, coming off of a little bit of a downturn in production before he got hurt and the season ended. Ponder that, if you will, that he allegedly turned down a Sam Darnold-like offer in terms of this next run. But for Alec Pierce, and something you and I have broached a little bit in the past, is he a guy that can do more, and you just haven't had it because you've had the other component parts with a Pittman, with a Warren, and obviously the run game with Jonathan Taylor, that he's able to move in, kind of like JSN did, right? 6'3", 200-pound guy. I mean, that's what Pierce measures out at. Can he become a guy that becomes a more of a every down threat versus all right, we're just going to go vertical with you once upon a time, draw penalties, and when you do catch something, it's 18 to 20 yards downfield. So that's the question, right? You know, whereas JSN went from short intermediate, now you have the over the top and mixing that game. Is that what you're envisioning, that you can do that with Alec Pierce? Yeah. It's a hell of a gamble.
Yeah, but that's also JSN making this move and getting better every year to the point where, hey, he blossomed this year to become the best wide receiver in the NFL. Alec Pierce has been catching 35 to 40 passes a game for 4 years. It's not like, hey, his first year was 15, next year was 30, next year was 45, next year was 60. This was 41, 32, 37, 47. Right? right? I get that he makes I understand that, and there's a place for that. But to pay the guy like he's not a number 1 receiver. He's not even close. He's a number 3 receiver at best, and they paid him like we have to keep him. Whoa, good luck, Indianapolis.
Ooh,
good
you
luck.
went at best.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
Nicely done. I'm going back a couple years ago. Remember when we had from the Cardinals out to Jacksonville? You had what was a number 3 receiver, Christian Kirk, who went out to Jacksonville and predicted here on this show is like he's going to go and have a big year. He did. They still stunk. But it's just the opportunity to get out from a system. Now here you're staying in the same uniform, but in theory opening a new door. Just do you trust that Daniel Jones is that guy?
He is Alec Pierce. Just to think about this for a second. Last year, his breakout year, okay? He averaged 3 receptions for 63 yards a game last year. That's what Alec Pierce got. Oh, great detail. No. You are what you are. You do what you do. 3 catches, 63 yards a game. That was his average. And he got paid like he's Justin Jefferson. I mean, you can't do that, man. You can't. That's such a. I mean, I can't imagine. What do you think JSN is going to say? I want the richest contract in the NFL, right?
Alluded to before.
This is one of those deals, almost like where Deshaun Watson, when that upset so many teams in the NFL, going, did you have to guarantee him all that money? Now look at where the salaries are. Guys that are Jags quarterbacks getting $50 million a year. This is one of those deals where, I mean, really, I get that he was valuable. He's the best guy out there, and I get that he's valuable to you. But you can't pay a guy that's 3-63. $114 million. You can't pay him $30 million a year, man. That's just gross negligence on so many levels.
Cost of doing business, and as we've said, he is the number 1 guy in the marketplace. Otherwise, you're looking at rookies and cast-offs, right? So he just happens to hit the mark, as we were talking about with Malik Willis and what the Dolphins did. It's like you just happen to hit the market at the absolute right time, and you can cash in. I think Pierce is a better player clearly than you do, but there's still other work to be done here. Again, it's all predicated on having a quarterback that can take him to that next level. And right now, Daniel Jones ain't going to be ready for week 1 by all reports. So you're quibbling with him over dollars. So you don't even have your quarterback position situated. And you did the transition tag on him when we've seen that happen very few times in the history to where he's got to make at least $39 million. And he wants a long-term at higher. Like, you've got so many things on your board. I guess you just decided that was the easiest.
Now, it gets worse, as we said, when you trade away Michael Pittman, but now you free up $24 million, but you just gave a lot of money to Alec Pierce. What I love what the Steelers did today. I mean, whether it's, I don't know if they're trying to convince Aaron Rodgers to come back or we can make it work with somebody else, but they go out and get Michael Pittman, who is a really good, solid number 2 receiver. He's healthy. He's someone that's going to be 80 catches, 1,000 yards, a pretty good guy, opposite of DK Metcalf. And they go get Rico Dowdle, 2 years, $12 million. They hardly pay for him, and he's a dynamic running back. Welcome to the 21st century, Pittsburgh, where, hey, look, Mike Tomlin leaves, and look at this. Look at the moves we're making on offense. Right? I mean, I don't think there's a coincidence between Mike Tomlin is out and here go the Steelers addressing the offensive side of the ball really early in free agency, because they've gone out now and said, okay, whatever we have coming back at quarterback, that's going to be a thing, and we kind of made our own bed with that. But now you have a couple of good running backs. You paid Jaylen Warren, but he's pretty good. But he was always really good in a timeshare. And you lost Kenneth. Okay, I get it. But you have him and Dowdle. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch. You have DK Metcalf, and now you have Michael Pittman. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch, right? You're also okay at tight end. You have jumped up to the 21st century. I love what the Steelers did today, and it's not surprising that, Mike Tomlin, who, I only want to pay guys on offense if you absolutely make me, if we got to reach the floor to spend money salary, because I want to spend all my money on defensive guys. I don't want to spend money on quarterbacks and pesky running backs and wide receivers. No, I want to pay these other guys. Suddenly Pittsburgh has jumped into modern NFL, which is bad news for everybody, because now, hey, we're good, because we always know we have the Steelers figured out. They're going to be a tough team every week to play. They're physical. Their defense is good, but in the playoffs, they're going to go home early because they don't have any offense. Now they have an offense.
Metcalf, Pittman, Calvin Austin, MVS, Good old Scotty Miller. Remember him? He's still on the depth chart as we sit here today. Offensive line probably needs a little bit of work still, but upgrading in the backfield, absolutely huge. And I'll presume Aaron Rodgers is eventually going to come back here in the next couple of weeks. But Mike McCarthy, as soon as you switch from the defensive coach, you go and lean into what McCarthy does and the style of offense that he ran all those years in Green Bay. And let's face it, it's the old rule of thumb. We've talked about it for players, and it's certainly for organizations. If what you're doing works and works well enough, how much are you prompted to really change? And for Mike Tomlin, you were able to run that out every year. For several of those years, you had monster numbers from Ben Roethlisberger, and then you watched that wane, and then you had get-by guys, but you were still winning games. So you're only going to make so many cosmetic tweaks versus totally reevaluating your decision-making process. It's only when someone suffers a catastrophic injury or you have that bottom-out moment that you'll actually do it. In this case, it's the separation from your 20-year coach. It's like, all right, we have to turn the page. Let's go.
Exit out about a Fresca, exit Swollen Dome. Jason Smith, Mike Harmon live from the Fox Sports radio studios. Again, no coincidence. Mike Tomlin out. Let's go address the offensive side of the ball. We're awesome. Let's go do it. Now look out for the Steelers.
Well, you also got to be worried that Max Crosby's coming.
That is true, but we'll deal with that tomorrow. It's okay. Let's celebrate the Steelers doing something good today.
He's waiting on
Celebrate
you
that
right
today.
now.